I wanted to walk you through the process that I take to turn my coaching conversations into content that I can then use to grow my audience and to get more clients in the fastest way possible. So today I'm going to actually literally just show you what I'm doing to turn a group coaching call transcript into an idea for a podcast episode. I can also technically turn this into a blog post, and I can show you that in another video. But for now, I'm just going to show you how I use transcripts from coaching calls to inform ideas for what I can do for other types of content. So let me get my screen share going. Okay. So I'm going to be using ChatGPT, and then I'm also going to be using my Otter transcript. So I use Otter to transcribe all of my calls, generally sales calls, one-on-one coaching calls, group calls. Obviously, use with discretion if you need to have a HIPAA compliant transcript. That's obviously something that you should be looking at, but I use the Otter app to do mine. And so I have this transcript. And what I'll do is I will export it to the clipboard so I can copy it. And then I'll go into my ChatGPT and I'll ask it to review the transcript and help me come up with ideas. So I'm going to say, give me your top 3 recommendations for a podcast topic based on what I discussed in this coaching call transcript. Make sure it speaks to my ideal client. And I've trained ChatGPT to know who my ideal client is, who my main program is. So that's stuff that obviously you'd want to make sure ChatGPT knows who you work with, what problem you solve, all of that. We can help you get better responses with our messaging guide, but all of that to say, just assume that your ChatGPT has been trained on your offer. So make sure it speaks to my ideal client and helps them see why they would want to work with me in the MBA program, as well as, I'm trying to think how else I want to say this, because basically I want people who are listening to my podcast to feel like I can help them reach their goals faster and easier. So I'll say, as well as helping them believe that I can help them reach their, and you can be really specific, goals faster and easier than ever with my approach. Okay. So I'm going to do that and put the transcript in. Okay. So this one's talking about why free tips won't get you clients, what to do instead. Do you really need Instagram to grow your business? The underrated client attraction strategy that most coaches ignore. Okay, so I could honestly do any of these. I think, knowing what I know about this conversation, let me see. I'd also like to do an episode based, and this is like, I'm remembering what we talked about, and I know I want to talk about this particular topic. So I'll say I'd like to do an episode based on the conversation around messaging basics and why specificity is so important in today's market. So basically, I just remember talking about that and thinking that that was really important. Okay. So I like that. So basically, it's like giving me some specific things I can talk about. And this is pulling from the transcript. So the reason I like doing it this way is because ChatGPT will make up whatever it wants, right? If I ask it to write me a podcast outline about how specific messaging can help a health expert grow their online business, it might give me something that's good, but it also might give me something that's total garbage and I would never say. And even if I would say it, if it's not coming from me directly, it's not actually going to resonate when I put it out there as a podcast. This might get a little woo-woo, but I really just think energetically, if you're trying to talk about something that you're not actually educated or experienced in, just because ChatGPT put it into an outline for you, it's not going to work when it comes to building your authority and connecting with people as someone that they should trust. There's just layers of being out of integrity when you're sharing something that is not something that you actually know to be true or to believe. So do not use ChatGPT to come up with the idea. Use ChatGPT to synthesize what you already talked about. This is why I love using coaching calls, because for me, sharing on a coaching call is usually where I feel most inspired. I feel most connected to my ideal clients. my expertise, my ideas just flow out really easily for me. And sometimes it can be a little challenging for me to replicate that in a podcast. So, because of that, I like to use ChatGPT to take what I said and condense it into notes. And then I can use those notes to then go record a podcast and expand on it so that it is still my words, it's still my ideas, but it's just giving me that condensed outline to make creating the content easier, to make sure I stay on track. I have a bad habit of being very long-winded, and I like to keep my podcast episodes a little shorter and more succinct if I can. And having an outline like this really helps. So I love the outline it gave me. I'll use this to create my episode. And then from there, for the blog, if I wanted to do a blog post, I do actually have a blog post tool that I created as a chatbot. So I can use that and say, now use that transcript to create a 2,500 to 3,000 word blog post on this topic of messaging specificity that speaks directly to my ideal client, and that is health entrepreneurs who want a profitable, life supportive online business working with their dream clients. Okay, so now I can literally use the transcript to inform a blog post, and you can see it's writing the whole thing. So again, this uses specific examples. So in this particular group call, I was talking to somebody who works with women's hormones, and I was talking about how she could get really specific around one symptom like hair loss, for example. So what I really love about this is it pulls from what I talked about. It's based on my philosophy. It's based on the exact words that I used, and it's using my own personal example. It used the 2 questions that I came up with. So this is really great. This is exactly what I wanted to create. And now I can put this on my website and have this be really helpful content for somebody who wants to make their messaging more specific. And then it also demonstrates my authority in this topic and promotes the MBA program as their next step. And I can link to my video sales funnel or an application page. There's lots of things I can do to get somebody taking the next step. So now I have a blog post, I have a podcast. I can say, great, now turn this into a valuable email that then drives applications for NBA. And I'm not going to just post this stuff without making any changes to it, but it's more tweaks. I don't have to write the whole email from scratch. And then I can say, great, now turn this into an Instagram caption with a strong hook that grabs my ideal client's attention immediately. And the CTA is to comment info to learn how I can help. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I might make some tweaks here, but I just created a podcast outline. I created a blog post. I created an email to send my list, and I created an Instagram caption, all from one specific piece of content that came from me. It was working with my actual group program clients, and it's my own words, it's my own philosophy, it's my own ideas, but it is synthesized through ChatGPT, so I can put out multiple different types of content, short form and long form, but it's all based on what I actually say and what I believe and how I word things and how I teach things. So this is my little hack for creating content that does not take a million years to do it, but also really aligns with your way of speaking, your ideal client, how you say things, what you believe, all of that. So I hope that this is helpful. Enjoy.